guys, I've got a new hobby, and if you know, it's one that I used to love a lot and showed you before. It's Hot Wheels, and this rainbow here is the Sweet 16 collection. That's the T-Bird, the Ford J-Car, the Python, the Beatnik Bandit, the Volkswagen Beetle, the Silhouette, the Hot Heap, the Corvette, custom Mustang, custom Fleetside, custom Camaro, Barracuda, Firebird, that's the Eldorado, and the one over there, the blue one is the Cougar, and the pink one is the Diora. These are the tools that I use. I think it's a number 5 bit. I think it's like 1/64th, and then you use one that's a little bit bigger. That's a tap, but it's broke. I ordered a new one. And that's the center punch, and that's the screwdriver that I use because I use some really tiny screws to put the cars back together, and you need a drill. There's the Diora finished up, and I'm going to be working on this Mustang. As you can see, we take the center punch and we're going to punch in the middle so we can drill out the middle of the rivets. They're not really rivets, they're just die cast posts that are spun down like a rivet. They're actually part of the body. See, we're going to drill that with the small bit first, and then we'll go back over it with the big bit to take the head off. And then we're going to tap the hole in the center. After you knock the big head off, we're going to re-drill it with the small bit, and then we'll tap it for the small screw. That's the screw right there. Luckily, with these screws, if they're too long, you can cut them off. I use 1/4" screws, but they also have 3/16, which usually works pretty good. Some cars you need shorter screws. Some cars you might need longer screws. Depends. This here in particular one I stripped out, but you can see how small they are. That's the Diora. I'm going to take this apart. You see the surfboards come off. I'm actually going to repaint this because I'm not happy with the black on the back. You see right there where I've drilled these out. And I'm waiting on a tap so I can tap them out. But you can also take the screw. The metal is soft enough the screw will actually thread in if you press hard enough. But make sure you do it beforehand. Once you paint it, you take a chance on messing up the paint. And this is the bottom. I've cleaned the bottom off and put some new tires on it. These I got from eBay. They also sell them at the redlineshop.com. And I use paint markers to paint the front grille and the rear tail lights. These are the paint pens. And this is the paint I use. I get it from the redlineshop.com. You can see the name right there. It's Spectraflame paint, and that's red. Okay, now we're going to work on this Mustang. I'm going to take the center punch, and I'm going to center punch the rivets so that I can drill them out. Sorry about the camera shot. It was kind of hard for me with my big hands to get under the camera. I did one side, I flipped it over and did the other side. As you can see right there, they both have center punch in them. I'm going to take the drill with the small bit, and you see I had it only sticking out a little bit. That's so that I don't accidentally break the bit. I've broken several of these. They're very easy to break because they're so small. You want to go slow, and here the bit wanted to travel on me. You want to be careful not to scratch or mar the car when you're doing this. See right there, I went through the bottom of the car, which I wasn't happy about. Flipped it over and I drilled the other side. And this is real time. This isn't sped up. I'm just going to drill through the top of the rivet, just below the bottom of the car, because you don't know if you're centered or not when you do this. Sometimes those rivets are spun sideways. Once you drill it out with the big bit, you drill the head off, and you pop it apart, you can make sure that you're centered on the post and are able to drill out the post evenly so that you don't have thin walls or go off kilter and come out the side. A lot of people drill them out and then they glue fake rivet heads on top of them. But I use the screws so that I can take them apart if I want to change the color or swap out a part. Like if the windshield's not nice and I come across a car with a nicer windshield, I can swap them out. As you can see, there's the bottom. We pop out the interior and the windshield on this car. This is the Mustang. Now this is a brown Mustang with brown interior, and you can see the steering wheel is black and the windshield is blue. That's because this car is from Hong Kong. And there's the post. Sometimes you have to ground them all flat so you can start over again with the punch and then drill them with the drill bit. Here you see me drilling out the center of the post. Sometimes this can be kind of difficult. You see where I've stabbed myself in the hand a couple of times with the bit. Doesn't feel too good. And where the mushroom is on the top of those posts, when you drill them out, sometimes you have to clean them up because they tend to not want to mount properly when you put the bottom back on. So make sure you squeeze them down, or in this case I'm going to sand them off a little bit. Here I sand the top down because it was too long. Once you put the bottom back on the car, it keeps the bottom from seating right. So you want to clean those up. You see I center punch it again. Very difficult with these small parts. That spring in that punch is very strong. I'm going to drill it again. Occasionally I change my bits. Like I said, I think this is a 1/64 or a number 5, or maybe it's a number 50. I can't remember what number it is, but I buy them off of eBay and Amazon. The 1/64 I can get from the local hardware store. This is one I got off of eBay. I believe it came with a tap. The next time I do a video, I won't show all this in detail. I'll just show where I drilled them out, because this can be kind of boring, I know. But as this is a new hobby for me, I wanted to show you all the things that I've done. Okay, here we take a screw, and we're just going to press into the car. Notice I did all this before I stripped and painted it. So just pressing the screw into the hole, and the metal's soft enough that it will allow the screw to screw down in there. Kind of self-tapping. As of the making of this video, I did not have a new tap, but as of today I do. So I would have tapped this out with the tap, and you need to be careful because those taps will break very easily. It's hard to believe that, but it will. See, got the screws in. I'm going to take screws back out, and we're going to strip these cars now. These are 3 different cars. The one on the right is it's a police chief car, and I'm going to use this aircraft remover, paint remover. And as I said, I'm redoing the Diora. I'm going to give it a good liberal coating. Make sure you get it all the way around. And then we're going to scrub this off with soap and water. But as you can see right here, the paint's already starting to lift. And this is real time. I'll take my brush and show you. See, it just wipes off that quick. And I'm going to let this set for a little bit, and then I'm going to scrub it with soap and water. Afterwards, I will sand and polish the vehicle to get it ready for paint. Here you see it after it's been stripped. So it needs to be sanded and polished to remove the oxidation from under the paint. And to give it that shine you want, this one has already been sanded and polished before because I painted it before. It had a spot on the top I didn't like, and the black that I put on the back wasn't very nice, so I took it off. And this is the police chief car. I'm actually going to paint this red, paint it red, so that it becomes a fire chief car. Now here's the Mustang. I've already painted it with the Spectra frame. Now this isn't a brown paint. I actually mixed blue, gold, and red to make that brown. And here's the police chief car painted to be a fire chief car. That turned out very nice. And here's the Diora. I'm not happy with the spot on the top, so I will end up repainting this one. And I don't think I'm going to put the black back on the back. And you see the stands I'm using. These are helping hands you can get off eBay or Amazon. And we're going to try the bottom on the fire chief car, show you what it looks like. I'm going to spray this with some silver chrome paint. This stuff right here, I got this off of eBay. And what you do is you paint the bottom black first, gloss black with this stuff. And then you spray this chrome over it. I'm going to wash this and paint it. Okay, here's the gloss black. That almost looks good enough right there, huh? We're going to go ahead and paint it chrome. Now this is the Mustang bottom. We're going to take a wire brush on the Dremel while the black sets up, and we're going to polish the bottom on the Mustang. We're not really digging into it, we're just using the side of the brush to polish it. And it'll make it look almost brand new. It removes the oxidation. As you can see, it's very shiny. It was in really good shape to start with. As you can see the grill there, I'm going to paint around the grill with black paint, which is very hard. And you see these old tires, we're going to remove these, and then we're going to put new ones on here. Some of these tires are very hard to get off. We use a special tool. They pop off the bearings, a little white bearing on the axle. I'll show you in a second. And as you can see right here, this is the windshield to the fire chief vehicle. There's a little blue bump on the top. And we're going to put it inside the car, and that's going to be your police dome light or your fire dome light. And right there we had a crack in the windshield. This windshield was very brittle because, after all, it is 52 years old. Well, this one's actually like 50 years old. So I super glued it back together since you can't get these replacement parts. And here you see me applying the chrome to the black base. And I spray it from every angle to make sure it gets in every little nook and cranny using my airbrush. And this turns out very nice. And it dries extremely fast. You see me pick it up here with a pair of pliers. It's already set up. It dries in like 2 minutes. It's very fast drying. I'm going to hit it again right there where I grabbed it with the pliers. See, it doesn't even mess it up when I flipped it over. It didn't even come off on my hands, even though my hands are very nasty. You should wear gloves when doing this. See, it's already dry. I wish I'd applied more chrome to the grill, but I didn't, so that's the back end. It looks very nice. Now I'm going to polish the windshield to try and remove some of the scratches and remove some of the fogginess. You should apply like car polish, buffing compound, some light buffing compound, not very gritty, and it'll help polish up the windshield. You can also use Pledge Floor Shine with Future Shine in it. It'll say Future Shine on the bottle. If it doesn't have that, it won't work because that's acrylic. And you just dip the windshield in it, and it'll fill in a lot of those cracks. I mean, those scratches. You see there, it looks a little cleaner. You can see through it. And I'm going to scrub the interior with a soap and brush before I screw all this together. There it is, all cleaned up. And there's the windshield all cleaned up. I washed it as well. You see, it's not as foggy as it was. Still has the crack. I super glued that back together. So see the little bump? It goes through the top of the car and becomes the flashing light that goes on top of those kind of cars. I think that is so cool how that looks. That red turned out really good. I like it better than the white. I'm going to put the bottom on it. Show you what it looks like. I'm going to put the wheels back on it. These you don't snap off the wheels. You can replace the axles with ones off another car, but I'm going to put the original wheels back on there because these are Redline wheels. And they just snap into a little groove. And usually the front axle is a little narrower than the back, and you just snap in there like that. And then we'll straighten them out. I'm using a screwdriver to help me get it in there. The first Hot Wheels that came out with, you could remove the axle and all and put them back on there. Then they changed it where they were crimped in. Then they changed to this style where you had separate axle. And there's the car. I'll put that together, and then we'll put some screws in the bottom. Screw right into those threads that we pressed in there earlier. Like that. Snugging it up. Like I said, sometimes you have to cut these screws off. Either you don't drill the hole deep enough, or you can't go deep enough for the screw and you snap the end off. And I just use a pair of side cutters and just snap the end off of it. There you go. Finished fire chief car. As you can see from the grill, I wish I'd have hit it again with the paint. It's kind of dark. This is a tool for adjusting axles and removing tires. And even though you can't see right here, I'm trying to pop the tire off. You stick it behind the tire like that and pry side to side. If they don't come off, you want to be careful because you don't want to pull the bearings off the axle, and you better to just go ahead and cut them off with a pair of nippers or a pair of dikes like these right here. That one was kind of hard. Usually they just snap right off. Can't get a grip. And the back ones, as you'll see, will pop right off. I'm going to try using the tool on the back ones. Stick that underneath there and just give it a little twist, and boop, off it came. Same with the other side. I'm sorry I had to put my hand in the way. I didn't want the wheel to go flying. But there you go. That's the bottom of the Mustang. There's the seats for the Mustang. There's the windshield. We're going to clean both those up before we put them back in. Polish them up a little bit. Polish the windshield and wash them with soap and water. Remove all that dirt and dust that collected over the years. Here's the Mustang. It's dry. Took about an hour for it to completely dry. I used a heat gun to help dry it. You got to be careful with the heat gun though. It will scorch the paint. But it works very well to dry and cure the paint. With the paint, I use hardener and thinner or reducer with it. You can also get those off the redlineshop.com. Usually it's 1 pipette of paint to 20 drops of hardener, and anywhere from a half to a pipette and a half of, there it is all screwed together. And I didn't have any wheels at the time, but I come back with the wheels. But anyway, you use a half to a pipette and a half of reducer to thin the paint. You mix it all together, shake it up in the airbrush, and there's the fire car. Very proud of that. It turned out very nice. And here you see I took the paint pens, got some dust on there, and you can see the Redline paint kind of shimmering. Took the paint pen, drew in the tail lights. On the grill I drew in the black. And here's the fire chief car. I blacked out the grill and painted in the tail lights using the paint pen. And I get some new wheels in. I ordered off of eBay. The reason I get them from eBay, I use BrightVision because they have some pretty nice wheels. They sell both Hong Kong, which are very nice and shiny. There they are, BrightVision. And then the US ones are not as shiny as the Hong Kong ones. But all you do is press them on. Here I just press them on. You can also use the tool, stick it behind the bearing, which I'll show you here in a second. I just like pressing them on there to set them on. Put the tool behind the bearing and press the wheel down using the tool behind it instead of the car, because when you're pressing down, the bearing tends to slide back and the axle sticks out a little bit. Here you see me take the tool. I'm going to stick it behind the bearing like so. I actually dropped it once, so I'm trying not to drop it here. And just put the wheel on the bearing and press, and it presses it all the way on there. Very simple. This particular car had small wheels on the front, medium-sized wheels on the back, and some cars need a large wheel. Yes, there are 3 different sizes and 3 different styles. There's another style of wheel that has a cap. You have to get the cap type. There the Mustang is, all complete. Looks really nice. Now, some people say, oh, well, you're hurting the value of the car. And I'm like, this is my collection. I'm not worried about resale. I didn't pay much for them, and it looks just as good as a $50 car to me, and it only cost me 10, 15 bucks to buy it and paint it. I'm not hurting nobody. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. Have a great day.